Thoughts on the X-Files? I love the X-Files. The original, I never watched the new one. I heard they made a new one. But I used to make my grandma watch the X-Files with me because I was too scared. So my grandma likes the X-Files too. But not because it's like not by choice. She likes the X-Files because I made her watch them. The new one is ass? Yeah, I bet. I can imagine it being ass. Twilight Zone was good too. I'm a big fan of any show where each episode was independent, like Star Trek The Next Generation, or X-Files, or Twilight Zone, or any... the thing is, what made those types of shows so cool were that sometimes they would have 2 parts with to be continued, and that was so hype. But then people realized that to be continued was the best shit ever. So now every show, the end of every fucking episode is a cliffhanger with a to be continued. And then every beginning of every show is last time on Dragon Ball Z, right? So it's evolved, like it's different now. But back then I used to like shows like that because it was a refreshing change of pace when you got a to be continued. To be continued was the hype shit. Who shot Mr. Burns? But now they know everything's to be continued because that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I like Twilight Zone, X-Files, Star Trek, Next Generation. Oh, CSI. I used to like CSI because of that too. Each episode was like, its own independent shit. But sometimes there'd be some fucked up, serious ass murderer, and they can't figure it out in 1 hour, man. We don't have this murderer is too crazy to catch in an hour, so you get hype. Remember the feeling when you were looking at the clock and it was like, dude, there's only 10 minutes left to this episode and they haven't even figured out shit. This is gonna be a to be continued, and you get fucking turned up. You remember that feeling? Shit never happens anymore. It's always a to be continued. Every time. TV sucks now. I don't even watch that shit anymore. Shoot these perros. Did you ever watch Spawn, the animated series? No. I was never really into cartoons that are not trying to be funny. That includes anime, Batman, Spider-Man. The only one I ever liked that was a cartoon that was not trying to at least be a little bit humorous was X-Men, the animated series. I used to love that when I was a kid. But other than that, I used to like, Ninja Turtles, Tick, the cartoon, X-Men. No, I never watched SpongeBob, or what's the other one that everyone likes? SpongeBob. I liked Ren and Stimpy and Rocko's Modern Life. No, I didn't like Power Rangers, or I really feel like I fell right into this weird slot in history where people who like G.I. Joe and Transformers were a little bit too old, right? Like the older kids like G.I. Joe and Transformer, but the younger than me kids like Power Ranger and Pokemon. So I was right in the middle. I liked Ninja Turtles, and I liked the X-Men cartoon, but I always felt like I was right in this weird middle part where I didn't really like any of those things that the older kids liked, and then, the Pokemon was lame too, and Power Rangers.